Throughout this 2023 college football season, there has been a fair amount of criticism thrown in the direction of both the Iowa Hawkeyes and the Illinois Fighting Illini, but they find themselves playing their best football at the end of the season. Can the Hawkeyes lock up the Big Ten West with a victory against Illinois on Saturday afternoon, or will Illinois make things interesting when the Thanksgiving leftovers get put into the microwave on Black Friday?
From LA to Piscataway, all Big Ten all year long. This is Big Ten 10.
Despite their three-game difference in their record, Iowa and Illinois are hitting their stride, specifically on the offensive side of the football. We saw the Iowa Hawkeyes put up over 400 yards of total offense, 22 points on a solid Rutgers defense. And then look what Illinois has done the last couple of weeks against Minnesota. And boy, were they slinging the yards and the points around in that Hoosier Illini battle last week. It's the offense that's really hitting their stride for both the orange and blue and the black and gold right now. And I think it's the offense that's going to be very interesting and fun to watch in this battle between the Hawkeyes and the Illini. I think the big storyline going into this matchup is that no more Cooper DeJean the rest of the season in the defensive backfield for Iowa. And that is especially big in this game because Illinois has been slinging it around the yard and they've gotten a lot better in the pass game the last few weeks. So if there is a team that can possibly exploit a lack of a Cooper DeJean, it's probably the Illinois Fighting Illini. You could probably anticipate who maybe the top two teams in the Big Ten are in passing offense. You know who's third? Illinois. That's right. The orange and blue of Illinois are a top 5 passing offense in the Big Ten. Coming into this season, I said they're going to have to kind of change philosophy. They're going to have to evolve a little bit. Okay, when you got Reggie Love in the backfield and Josh McCray, neither of them, even as we found out throughout this season, neither of them have really been a big-time threat back there in the backfield. So they've had to rely on their passing game, right? Mostly with Luke Altmyer, and then because of injury, John Paddock, and we've seen what he's been able to do. But I believe that this passing offense has really come alive for Illinois because of the run game and because of the young running back in Caden Fagan right now. I want to talk about him because I think he's a big key in this game. Despite Reggie Love rushing for 146 yards last week against Indiana, I think Iowa really needs to key in on the freshman in this game. Prior to that Indiana game last week, Caden Fagan rushed for 65 carries, 270 yards, and 2 scores in the previous 3 games. And then if you look at the first handful of games before that 3-game stretch, Fagan only got, in one game, only more than 10 carries and 80 yards. That was, he rushed for 11 and 85 against the Purdue Boilermakers. So this was a guy that wasn't tremendously featured in this offense. And then once he got featured a little bit more, you saw the talent that he really possesses. And that run game, I believe, helped this pass game really unleash because earlier on in the season for Illinois, so much pressure, both in the run game and the throw game, was put on Luke Altmyer because he didn't have a run game and he didn't have a decent offensive line. So he's out there, he's running it around, he's trying to throw it around, and when so much pressure is put on the quarterback position, sometimes it doesn't equal to what you want. Now that you have a little bit of a run game, it balances things out and it helps the pass game even more. Isaiah Williams, Casey Washington, and Pat Bryant have really reaped the rewards here the last few weeks for the Illinois Fighting Illini. So if Illinois can get a little bit of a run game going against Iowa, provide that balance, this is a team without Cooper DeJean in the defensive backfield for Iowa. This is an Illinois team that could possibly push the ball down the field against the Iowa Hawkeyes. Look back to last season. Remember when Cooper DeJean on Black Friday in Iowa City got hurt against the Nebraska Cornhuskers? What happened? Deep balls. Casey Thompson hitting Trey Palmer over the top. They hit a bunch of big plays without the talent and the coverage ability of Cooper DeJean back there, and Nebraska was able to translate it into a victory. That's maybe where Illinois sits. Can they hit those big plays over the top? Iowa still has some decent players back there. Okay, you got your Quinn Schultes, you got your Sebastian Castros, you got your Xavier Edwampkas. You've got guys like that can certainly play ball, but how are they going to be able to cover these Illinois weapons that have really been hot as of late? I think that's a big question in this game. Let's talk about the Iowa Hawkeyes for a minute. What do they have to do on defense attacking Illinois? Okay, I just was talking about the throw game, and then I talked about Caden Fagan a little bit. I think when it comes down to Iowa, we just mentioned the injury and the lack of that All-American back there in the defensive secondary. I actually think it starts with stopping the run game. It's because you look back earlier in the season when Illinois was this one-dimensional team and Luke Altmyer was running around. They weren't able to do what they wanted to do and be successful on the offensive side of the football. When Illinois is balanced, they are dangerous. If I'm Iowa, I'm trying to stop this run game. And look, I don't think Illinois is going to be able to just throw and throw and throw and throw like they did against Indiana. Okay, this Iowa defense, even without Cooper DeJean, is a better defense than Indiana, and it's a much better defense than Minnesota. All right, so this is not an Illinois team that's going to be able to sit back there and throw and pick the defense apart for 500-plus yards like they did against the Hoosiers. That's not happening. The Hawkeyes are a lot better than that. Phil Parker is not going to allow that to happen. So if they can bottle up the run game, force Illinois to throw it 35, 40, 45 times, and then unleash your pass rushers on a average to below average at best offensive line, I believe that's a defensive game plan for Phil Parker that can really work and deliver the Hawkeyes a big-time victory in this one. You look at things for Illinois, what did they have to do? I think you look at that Nebraska film from last year. I really think you do. How do you attack this Iowa secondary without Cooper DeJean? Because I think there could be some shots open down the field for the Illini, and I just mentioned what Iowa has to do to stop them. I think Illinois needs to prevent that from happening. They need to get things going in the run game. When I say prevent that from happening, they need to prevent Iowa from bottling up that run game. They need to get some balance, at least a little bit, on the offensive side of the football. They need to put the pressure on the Iowa offense. I firmly believe that. You need to, early in this game, in the first half, you need to put points on the board. You need to put touchdowns on the board. Because now, if your offense is moving up and down the field, that puts a whole lot of pressure and puts this Iowa offense in a situation that they probably haven't been in all season. Let's talk about that Hawkeye offense. They have confidence. You know why they have confidence? Because Brian Ferentz did something good in terms of play calling. Okay? All season, when Deacon Hill's been in this game, for all of these games, ever since Cade McNamara got knocked out of this season, it's been, we got to get the run game going. We got to get the run game going. We got to get the run game going. We got to run the ball. We're not going to throw it a lot. That's got to kill the confidence of Deacon Hill. And then when they get into third and 7, 3rd and 8, stuff like that, now he doesn't have a lot of confidence going in, and it just puts that much more pressure for him to make plays. Brian Ferentz got Deacon Hill throwing the ball to start against Rutgers, built up that confidence early and says, we can always go back to the run game. But Deacon Hill, you could see him get better. The more they threw the ball with Deacon, the better this offense got as things went along. Get Deacon that confidence, even if it's just a short passing game early in this game. Get him that confidence. You can always go back to the run game. Look, there is plenty of opportunities, I believe, for this Iowa offense to get things going against Illinois. But they got to do one thing. If they want to have success, look, this is a Illinois defense that's towards the bottom of the Big Ten in rushing offense and rushing defense and passing defense. They need to do one thing. They need to find number 4 and quadruple team him. They need to have multiple pairs of eyes on where Johnny Newton is at all time. Johnny Newton is a game plan changer. Johnny Newton is a game plan buster. He's in that Ndamukong Suh bubble where he can take over a game on the defensive line. Iowa needs to prevent that from happening. If they can at the very least neutralize Johnny Newton, I think they're going to have a really good chance to move the football on this Illinois defense and score points on this Illinois defense. Because outside of Johnny Newton, I don't know if they can hold back guys like Jazz Patterson or Caleb Johnson or Lee Sean Williams. I think this Iowa run game could get going. I think this Iowa pass game could get going as well a little bit with the emergence of Caleb Brown. He's more involved in this offense now for the Hawkeyes. There are opportunities for Iowa if, and it's a big if, but if they can contain Johnny Newton and the Illinois Fighting Illini. With the loss of Cooper DeJean, I think this one is a lot closer. It's got that Iowa-Nebraska vibe a little bit from last year at Kinnick Stadium. But I believe this Iowa team, ranked 16th in the latest college football playoff rankings, is playing their best football. And when their offense is getting better and when their defense continues to play like they are, this is a very difficult Iowa team to beat. But if there's one guy that could do it, it could be Bret Bielema. I want to hear your thoughts in the comments below about everything Iowa and Illinois. Can Illinois get to bowl eligibility, pull the upset, make things interesting going into Black Friday? Or do you think Iowa is going to lock up the Big Ten West this week? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, score predictions, and all that. I'm Big Ten Ted. We'll see you in the next one.
Thanks for watching Big Ten Ted, where it's all Big Ten all year long. Make sure to like the video to spread the word of Big Ten Ted to the masses, and subscribe to the channel for updates on Big Ten content that drops every day.